Say yes every day to the world and to your heart. Open up your eyes and let your spirit start. Say yes to the dreams you hold inside. Let your soul be your guide.
In today's complex mortgage world, finding the right direction can be challenging. That's where Lighthouse Advisors comes in. With over 25 years of experience, we provide fractional leadership and executive oversight, guiding companies through transitions, growth, and innovation. From IMBs to brokers to credit unions to tech firms, our team of seasoned professionals is here to shine a light on solutions, ensuring your business thrives in every environment. At Lighthouse Advisors, we don't just guide, we empower. Together, let's create a ripple of success across the industry. Email us today at laura@lighthouseadvisors.com. Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wednesday Wisdom. Today, we are joined by the amazing and incredible Valerie Saunders. She is the Chief Executive Strategist and past president of NAM. She's the Vice President of RE Financial Services and the President of Title Clearinghouse of Jacksonville. And we are thrilled to have her share her wisdom with all of us today. Valerie, to kick us off, we'd like to know, give us one of the best pieces of advice that you have ever received, and how has that advice influenced your life?
Well, thank you for inviting me, Laura. I really appreciate it. Best piece of advice. I mean, it's not a positive piece of advice.
That's
But, and this was years and years ago when you're in college and you come out of college and it's like, oh, everything is wonderful. If you work hard, people are going to love you. They're gonna, you're gonna advance. And I kind of found out that that wasn't the case, because everybody has an angle. And which that's why I say it's not positive.
All right,
but,
so I can't wait to hear what the advice is.
That was it. Everybody has an angle.
So kind of like I'm almost interpreting that like everybody's kind of in it for themselves, or everyone is kind of like
it means
up.
Everybody has a vision or a goal, and it might not align with yours. And this person told me to read The Art of War.
Mm.
And I'm reading it and I'm like, obviously it's all about strategy, and some people are calculated, they have different motivations than you do. And so it just made me think about life differently, from a work perspective, because I thought if I come in and I work hard and I always try to do more, that I'm exceeding expectations, that would be looked at favorably. And it was from my supervisor, but it wasn't always from the people that were around me. Because, so my first job was with the National Archives.
Okay.
And so it's government work.
Yeah.
So, not everybody that works for the government, hard to believe, is looking to work hard, stay motivated, advance. Some people are like, hey, they're going to pay me the same no matter if I do 20 things in a day or I do 5 things in a day.
So slow down. Why are you going so fast?
Right? You're making us look bad. Why are you? Yeah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But then after a while, I'm like, then you start looking around in your environment, and
yeah.
It was in a big giant building. we shared it with a lot of other government agencies, the IRS, the VA, the FBI, also the Army Reserve. It was the head of the Army Reserve. And so so I say this is a big giant building because it had a huge cafeteria for like hundreds of people.
Right.
And so I would go up there, every day and, get something to drink or whatever, you're taking a break. And I would see this guy in the back and he was playing solitaire. And every single day at like about 11 o'clock. So we started work at 6:45. So the hours were 6:45 to 3:15. So like 4 hours after you're starting, he's up in the cafeteria. And it would not matter if you were up there at 11, 12, 1, 2, he was up there. And so one day, this group of people I was with, they went over and talked to him. And I'm like, why do I see you up here every day? And he's like, I have a minimum amount of work that I have to complete, and I can complete it in 3.5 hours. And so when I get my work done, I come up here. And I said, well, don't you get bored? And he's like, what difference does it make? They're going to pay me the same amount of money, whether I exceed what they're expecting or I do just the bare minimum.
Wow.
And he was happy with his life doing just the bare minimum.
Is that kind of when you decided to go and become an entrepreneur? Because it almost seems like it was like a light bulb went off of, man, I don't ever want to be like that.
What wound up happening is I wound up, I'm like, this is not going to be my life. This is not it. And my mom worked for the government for 35 years. She worked for Social Security. And I immediately decided, I'm like, okay, what do I really want to do? This is not it. And so I started talking to the other people who had higher, like in the government, your different grade levels. So they had higher grade levels. They had masters. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a master's.
There you go.
And so that's what I did. I applied, I got a master's, and I left after 1 year. But I made sure I was there for 1 full year because then if you ever want to go back,
there you
have like seniority.
Right.
But I obviously never went back.
But what a lesson, right? That was a lesson. And to your point, right? Sometimes it's something like that really did affect the whole rest of your life, right? You saw something, you're like, no, this is not a good fit. This is not what I want my future to look like, right? And I love that. All right. So now the next question, we recently had the joy of being co-authors in a book that Ginger Bell and Fabi had put together. And that book was all about leadership. And I'd love to hear from you. Give me one leadership trait that you think is extremely important for us to, share with our teams, with our industry, in our households, right? Even as parents, we're also leaders. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So, what I try to do is, I feel like you should always be educating and helping others advance. And also, I mean, this is like a multiple leader, but like lifting other people up because, and I have 2 daughters. They're, in their 20s now, but, from a young age, I was always like, you can do anything that you want. You're not limited. Tell me what it is you want to do and I will help you do it. It didn't like whether they, I had one daughter that was big in sports. I had another daughter that was big in art. Okay, well, I'm going to do everything I can do to make you the best artist you can be and it get you to wherever it is that your end goal is. Same with my younger daughter. Tell me what it is you want to do. I'm going to help you. And so, I just feel like you shouldn't like hold your knowledge like it's a secret. You should share it with everybody else and then hope that they're taking it and using it to advance beyond where you've advanced.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we all should, we're all in this together. And, if you come to me and you need help, I'm going to help you. I turned into the world's worst delegator because if somebody asks me a question ask me to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Or if it seems like something that I might be interested in, I will volunteer, which is how I obviously
Yeah.
wound up doing a lot of
That's
stuff.
how we keep taking on so much, because we like to learn,
Because
right?
it's not that I can't say no. I don't want to.
Yeah. I'm, you and I are on the same page with this,
Yeah.
because it's when we stretch out of that comfort zone that we learn so much more, and can, not only, to your point, not only does that make us rise, but everyone around us, because now we know one more thing that we can share with someone else,
Right.
to your point, right? So I'm with you. And it's funny, I'll never forget when you're telling the story of early in your career, it kind of made me have a flashback that I remember a very early job that I had. Maybe I was like 21. And there was this woman that was a project manager, and she would never share her information. Like, she literally would say to me, "Oh no, Laura, you can't share certain things because that's job security." And I'll never forget her she lost her job because of that. And I remember being a young person, like, going, isn't that interesting that this woman that was like in her 40s, that I thought had it all figured out, she was telling me, don't share your information, but she wound up being terminated because she would never share her knowledge.
Right.
And you can't do that, right? To your point, that a leader, we share our information and we lift other people up, and we continuing to challenge ourselves, because that's how we continue to grow, to be able to share. I love it. I love it. All right. So Valerie, you are involved in tons and tons of things, and you're all over the place, and you're always learning and growing and passing on and taking on new things. Number one, I want to know, how do you keep, I mean, listen, we know this industry kind of chews us up and spits us out sometimes, right? So I want to know, how do you keep kind of inspired and motivated through all these ups and downs and roller coasters we've been on? And my final question that you're going to wrap us up with is, I want to know your moonshot. I want to know, what does Valerie, if I had the magic wand and I literally could say, okay, you make a wish and we're going to make this happen, I want to know what that is. All right, but give us your inspiration first.
So my number one inspiration is, I want to do everything. If I see something and I think I can do it, I'm going to figure out a way to do it. So I don't want my own personal limitations to hold me back. I'll figure it out. I'll ask questions. I'll go to the right people. I'll search things on the internet. I'll do whatever I have to do to figure it out. So there isn't, age is just a number. And, like, I can't even imagine retiring, or I should say, it's not working.
Yeah.
Like, if I wasn't doing
new,
this,
right? A new challenge, like something else, right?
Yeah, if I wasn't doing this, I would just be doing something else. I mean, I have to stay busy. I cannot, I'm not a type of person that I'm just gonna like sit there. Even if I'm like watching TV, I'm probably on the computer doing something or whatever. I have to stay busy, and that's why I like helping people, volunteering. I mean, obviously I do stuff with associations and just whatever. If you need help, I'm going to help you. Yeah. And, it keeps me busy, and if it makes things easier for other people, that's, even better.
So your inspiration and motivation is continuing to evolve, continuing to make progress. I said this in another podcast episode, where Tony Robbins says the definition of success is progress, meaning that the only time you're not successful is when you're either standing still or going backwards. So regardless of what you're doing, it doesn't have to be quantum leaps ahead. It could just be, oh, I learned something new today, or I challenged myself to do something I've never tried, and I made progress. That is success. So now, all right, so now I want to hear the moonshot. So yes, you're making all this progress and you're doing all this stuff. Give me your wish is my command. I want to hear what it is.
Okay, so if I could do anything, I would travel around the country. I would live in a place for a month.
Huh.
So like rent an
Yeah.
Airbnb or whatever, take in whatever it is in that location and then move to another location.
You're
And I
doing
would
what
just,
Megan Anderson? You want to do what
yes,
Megan
yes, I want to be
Anderson?
Megan Anderson. I don't want to live in a van though. but but I wouldn't mind like, going living in an Airbnb for a month or two and then going somewhere else because that is the other part of what I've been able to do because of all the different things I do is I get to go to all these different places around the country. And it's amazing what's out there. And you can get when you are immersive, you can experience so much more. And unfortunately, I can't do that right now. My mother is in an assisted living facility, so that prevents me from doing that. I do have a husband too, but
Yeah.
he can come along.
I was gonna say, I hope he's coming with
He
you.
can come along.
All right. Okay. I'm with
But
you on the journey.
that I would do that.
But you obviously it doesn't have to be today. It could be something in the future as
Yes.
that's happening. I think that sounds so wonderful. And I'll tell you from someone that yes, I travel and yes, I go back and forth through Jersey and Arizona. It's really interesting. Even though I'm going to the same place in Arizona, just changing your perspective. Like knowing that you're going to be leaving one place and going to another place and seeing different things, there's something that changes in your brain.
Yeah.
Like there is like this, it's like vacation mode, right? It's like everything changes to where the flowers look brighter and the smells just smell more fragrant of the flowers. And there is something about changing our environment that really does create more creativity in your brain and makes you excited. So
Yeah.
I love that you have that on that moonshot roadmap of the future because I believe that's not even difficult. I believe that one is absolutely going to happen.
Yes.
All right. Valerie, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for all that you do. I love your answers because it really does explain a little bit as to why you do some of the things you do in a good way. You want to help, you want to learn, you want to continue to challenge and grow. And I love that. So I think we just saw a little peek behind the scenes and that's very special. Thank you for all that you do and be well.
Thank you.